Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kunle Adewale, and I'm your wonderful host for today. And this afternoon, we are having this is day 4 of the National Art and Health Week in Nigeria. So today we are having the art and the environment, protecting the ecosystem through creativity with amazing visual artists from Nigeria. These artists are of international repute. So today we have with us DOTUN Popoola, who is known as Metal Lord, an amazing metal sculptor from Nigeria. We also have in our midst today Marcelina Akpojotor. I hope I pronounce it well. She is an incredible, amazing, inspirational artist using fabrics for an amazing creative expressions in Nigeria and around the world. So also with us today, we have Yusuf Durodola, who is an amazing multimedia artist who uses plastics to make body of work of art. And lastly, today we have in our midst SDG champion, Mrs. Foluke Michael, who has really engaged with United Nations, working with people in the government, and our job is more in the area of global collaboration when it comes to protecting the environment. So today we go right away and hear from our first speaker for today, Marcelina Akpojotor. Over to you, please. So Marcelina Akpojotor.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, good. Good afternoon. Do you want to say something?
Oh, good afternoon. Am I? Oh, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here, and thank you, Mr. Kule, for inviting me. The topic for today is art and the environment, how protecting the ecosystem through creativity. And I'd like to share my experience or my journey of how I got into the art and how I started to incorporate fabric into my practice. So I mean, my dad is an artist, so I grew up around him. I saw him paint. I saw him do some graphics work, and I mean that was just there. But I never knew I was going to be an artist or even do practice art. I thought it was something I could do on the side, like what you do on a Saturday, while you go to the real world and work. Then on the weekend, you just use it to pass time. But after my secondary education, I just wanted to do art. Like my orientation changed, and I saw that it's something that gave me joy, something that I found fulfillment doing. So I went on to study art at Lagos State Polytechnic, got back, and if you know the art education, when you're there, you're bombarded with a lot of assignments. So you're always busy trying to meet up with those assignments, trying to fulfill your part as a student. So after my 2-year course, then there was the industrial year where you go for your IT, but unfortunately I couldn't go. So, I mean, from that very busy period, then it got to a period where I had less things to do, less things to engage me with. So I started asking myself questions, what can I do? Then knowing I know how to draw already, so I started using the materials I had from school, like the pastels. I was making portraits of the little ones around me. Like when my siblings' friends come around to visit, I make little sketches of them. And then on the other side, I was also like using some of my mom's old fabric, the one we call Ankara, just to create jewelries, to make bags. And I was just doing all this at the side. But then it got to a point I think I was bored. I felt I was not pushing myself enough. Then I wanted to just to explore more, and the idea came, why not switch the fabric for the portraits? Like, find it's a challenge. I've not done it before, and I've never seen someone do it the way I do it. But then started, it was like a challenge. And I mean, I was bored with the past year and I wanted to push myself. And it was just a good opportunity to like take it to the next level. And then that was in 2013. So I started thinking of how to approach it, started gathering fabric. So it was then I started moving out to visit other tailors, to visit tailors in their shops so as to get more of this waste. Then I started reading about waste and the hazard it causes in the environment, how there isn't much knowledge out there on waste management. And like the environment is just so dirty, it's filthy. And I'm like, okay, I like fabric. It's something that is it's like a cultural identifier. A lot of people can relate more with it. And most of us on this Zoom, we have one piece of clothing with us, so people can relate with it. So, and I just fell in love with the fabric. I started going to tailors, collecting just to them, instead of throwing them away into the running waters or burning them, they can as well keep it. For me, I'll come around to collect them. And they did this, they kept this fabric. And then I was collecting them. Then there was an opportunity to like put in for a competition, which was titled Off the Bin. So the competition was for us as artists to go out to the street and pick things that we consider waste and use them to create art. So I made the first work and it was fine. I used fabric, I used all kinds of materials, I used electronic waste, I used bottle top. I mean, it's my first work and I wanted to like explore all these other material with it and see if it's something I would like. But yes, I did it and it won one of the prizes. So from there on, I stopped using some of those wastes because I don't think I enjoyed working with them as much as the fabric. So I kind of like stick with the fabric. So I started working with the fabric more, then pushing myself and just working with paper. And I'm an artist first. I'm not a waste environmentalist. So I approach it from the perspective of the art, like using the art to approach waste. So that's what I did.
Amazing, incredible work. I see.
Yeah.
You still have a few more things to say before we dig deeper into the dimension of the works that you do. A lot of people today in Nigeria are also exploring a wide variety of materials. So what do you think stand you out? Have you ever doubt yourself in a way that you feel like, are you sure this will really sell using fabrics, to create body of work? Have you ever thought about what were your fears? Have you had fears of thinking like whether you're going to succeed or not? Have you had those fears before you came so much into limelight, even with more art exhibition, art relay, home and abroad, and some other places around the world? Do you want to shed more light on that, please?
Okay, first of all, I believe all arts have their audience, but there might be a problem if you've not yet found your audience. And every art is a light, is an idea, is a message to the world. So when I started out, I was not really focused on the economic part. Okay, I was not really focused on the economic part. I just wanted to do something. I mean, I've always been with art. I make greeting cards. I make logos for football clubs. I give it to my friend. Most of this I don't even sell. I mean, CBS, when the Lagos Carnival was still a thing, I go there. I sell the face mask. Sometimes I don't even sell much. Then I make like face painting. I think it was just a necessary step to my journey as an artist. I didn't see it as something that I would sell, but it was something I enjoyed. And I also believe that it was a message that people needed to see. It was my own message to the world. And I wanted to like just do it in a unique way. You know, as artists, we sometimes give ourselves some task, like, okay, I want to make this thing complex. I want to, like, you're pushing yourself, not that you can really do it, but because you feel if you try it, it might come out well, and make it.
It seems we lost her. Let's wait for her briefly. If you do have questions for our four speakers, please don't, if you don't mind, just drop your questions in the chat. I mean, you hear what she said, like she will go to TBS to go and sell face mask. Amazing. Well, I see Mr. Dotun has a question for her. Mr. Dotun, you can, I'm not sure she's not here yet, so I think it would be good to have her back before you ask your question, please, so that she can get to hear you, and then she can respond appropriately to your question, please. So let's wait for her to be able to join us, please. Let's see. Let's wait for her, please. So while we're waiting for her to come back, let's attend to Mr. Dotun very quickly. Mr. Dotun, okay, I think she's here now. Let's, okay, good. Hi, Marcelina, are you back?
I think while you're sharing the screen, then it appears. I think while you're sharing the screen, it interferes with her network, I guess. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Okay, I see. All right, let me ask you to unmute yourself. I'm going to make you a co-host again, and then you can just continue to share, all right? Okay, you can please speak. No, I'm asking you to unmute yourself. Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, all right. Thank you. I don't know what happened. It just went blank. Okay, so I was talking about the economic part of my practice. So when I started, it was not really about the money. And I think when you're starting out, the money should be the last thing you think about, because then it won't bring out the best in you. But instead, I focused on the arts, and I was doing other things on the side. I was like, I mentioned I was with my dad, and I learned some of these things. I had to make banners, I had to do handbills, and I was able to use the resources I got from there to support myself while I developed my art. But along the line, and I was also using the social media. The first exhibition I had, I didn't sell anything, but I was happy at Alliance Française, then at Yaba. But I was happy that people saw the work and they appreciated the work. And that exhibition, no say at all. We still went on to work. And then I was at Dr. Bruce's Onobrakoya's place, also working, supporting my art. So there wasn't a lot of financial bonding on the arts bringing money or bringing fund. And I think I was able to cope. Before then, I think the second year in 2016, I had another exhibition. And that same year, I had my baby. I was not able to even go for the exhibition, and the work sold, like the whole work sold. And I remember the lady was asking if there were more works, and that was how I connected with Adenrele Shonariwo, and that was how the journey continued.
Incredible, wonderful. Do you mentioned how you connected to Adenrele Shonariwo, who is the curator for Rele Gallery. What role do you think Rele Gallery has played in kind of projecting the kind of work that you do on a global stage, please?
Aderenle Shinariwo Relay Gallery has played a huge and is still playing a very huge part in my career as an artist and even in the Nigerian African scene. I mean, now they are in the US, and I mean, at the end of the day, we say art is expression or communication, but then something occurred to me that art makes countries, continents even communicate. And I remember why we're at Miami, and people were, well, is it Nigeria? Like, no. And then there was a space in LA, but Kende Afolabi will tell them, yes, we have our main space is in Lagos, Nigeria. Like, wow, so good things, like they are amazed, like good things can come from Nigeria, from Africa. And it's amazing to see. So like what we do is more than us. Like it's about our race, it's about our continent, it's about the people that look like us. So, and I mean, she has done well and she's still doing well, and we are rooting for her. I mean, I know she played a very great role in my development as an artist.
That's a wonderful commendation for Relay Gallery and what they have been doing over the years in helping to project your body of work and all of that. What would you consider as your challenge as an artist, your greatest challenge as an artist using fabrics in Nigeria and around the world? What would you consider as your greatest challenge?
Using fabric. When I started out, then I mean, art is about solving problems. Okay, I started with the fabric, then it got to a point and I'm asking, how do I preserve this? I mean, when it comes in contact with dust, with the weather, what then happens? And then I started making research, and I think I've been able to like surmount that part of using the fabric the way I do. So it's no longer a challenge per se the way I use it, because over time I'm learning about materials, the good materials. I'm ditching some. I'm just like refining myself. Hello, and again, one of the challenges of using material is sometimes the people do not listen or even are not patient enough to know like the ideas behind the body of work. I mean, the fabric is they are impressed with the fabric, how one can use the fabric, so that sometimes I fear that they sometimes miss out the story I'm trying to tell.
I agree absolutely with you with what you've said. Looking at also the dimension of using of fabrics, are you particular about the type of fabrics that you use in your creative expressions? Are you very particular specifically the kind of fabrics that you use?
Okay, specifically I use fabric Dutch was that we call Ankara here. And I was interested in it because of the unique patterns and little tiny details within them, the colors, and so I'm very drawn to it, and the how connected we are as people to that fabric. I mean, we use them in occasions, we use them to celebrate and mark all kinds of events. So I was very interested in that fabric, and I'm also very and I also like the fact that I go out to get this fabric. So like I'm collecting experience, pieces of stories that I don't know of. Like just go to the tailors, and the tailor's shop is like a place where the community kinds of converge. So like it's like having a piece of everybody's fabric to create work, and I just believe it might make you interested in what I have to say.
Thank you so much. I was going to get to that point where you mentioned the tailors. Amazing. So for the tailors where you get the fabrics from, How do you build a relationship with them? Do you just go there and just grab the material and say, this is a waste. Can you please give it to me? How do you build connection with the tailors? How do you relate with them?
Okay, with that, I kind of build a relationship with them, let them understand what I do with the fabric. So, I mean, we are on the same page as to what I do with the fabric. I don't do anything diabolical because some people's mind might be like, what are you doing with people's fabric? But and I show them what I do with them, and wow, they're also impressed, and they're happy that the fabric they give to me is used to do something meaningful.
All right. Economically, are they benefiting from that relationship? You going there, so are they selling the waste to you, or you are just collecting it for free? Like, this thing after all is a waste. I'm just helping you to empty your waste, or what is it like?
No. Okay, no, I don't go there with that mindset, because even though it's waste, it's their waste, and they have a right to it to do with whatever they please. So I go there and we talk. Most of them would give it freely, but then I like compensate them for even taking out time to gather these things for me. And some of them even go to the stress of like making sure whatever I have is just the Ankara fabric. I compensate them for that.
That is so kind of you. If you do have a question for Marcelina, please drop it in the chat. I'm going to read it out. If you do have a question for her, please do drop it in the chat. I was going to ask you, what will you consider as your greatest achievement as an artist using fabrics? What will you, at least so far for now, because I mean, your best days are still ahead of you. For now, what will you consider your greatest achievement?
Yeah. I don't know if if I like to answer those kind of questions, but I've had great moments. I've had incredible, interesting moments, and I believe it's like a ladder. Each one led to the other, and I'm very grateful for them. I was very happy to show in LA, to have a space to myself to just show my work. I remember the first time I was in US it was a salon in Mrs. Ronke Kwesi's home. Like, she invited people she knew, and that was my first time. And it was just in a house, and people liked the work, and it was a duo. Then to having a solo in LA in a gallery, I mean, it was a wonderful experience, and I'm grateful for every step of the way. Like, to showing at the Art Basel in Miami with top artists in the world. That's it. So I mean, it's a moment I hold dear to my heart.
That's great. That's wonderful. I'm going to ask you, how are you paying it forward as an artist? You're doing great. You're thriving in the space where you find yourself. How are you paying it forward?
I also pay for by like having conversation with younger artists, like a form of mentorship, like how to go about how to just be or go about it in the art world. And there are some instances I've also through the DOTUN Institute and Relay Art Foundation. I went back to my secondary school in Agege, and we had like a workshop where a 3 days workshop, I think, where we took children on how to create art using what they can find in their environment.
Wonderful, wonderful. Love the mentoring idea and what you do in that space. Somebody's asking you, what advice do you have for upcoming artists like himself?
What advice? Okay, I think you should just do your work and show the work. again, when you're starting out, you need to look for sustainable ways to survive while you practice your art. Because most times I find it that when you're trying to, at the initial stage, when you're trying to feed off from your art, it's usually difficult. Sometimes some people break through, but most times what happens is then you lose the interest you have for the art altogether, and that is not good. We don't want frustrated artists. We don't want artists that will never touch the paintbrush. So when you are able to get other means of livelihood, I mean, you're an artist, you should be able to do some other things on the side, like make portraits, but that's not like the body of work. Why? I mean, those are able to sustain you while you practice your art and hone your skills. Like also know who is who in the art community. Like I remember I spoke with someone that he draws very well and he wanted to be an artist. I'm like, who do you know in the art world? And couldn't mention like, these people. Like you should also be interested in the you want to be a part of. Is very important.
Wonderful. We will still ask you more questions shortly. I think it's great knowing what you do in the field of arts. And I'm also curious, as a female artist, how do you feel the way you thrive in such a space where a field that is mainly dominated? How do you feel about that?
I think the narrative is changing. We're a generation of women that want to be heard, want to do our work. Fine. I'm sure in the other generations, there were women too that were working, but they didn't get the spotlight. But I think with the advent of the social media, you can at least show what you do. There's really no boundary. You can show your work, and I'm very happy to be a part of the women working and striving and just doing our best.
Do you have other artists that you're mentoring who are also using fabrics as well? Like you do have other artists that you're mentoring? You spoke about mentoring earlier on. Are you teaching?
Yes.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know. I cannot teach you to be an artist. It's a personal thing, but I can guide you. Because I mean, we go to school. We use sometimes we are in the course of 4 years. They will go back for our masters, and yet we still do not know how to go about it. It's because the school is just one part of it. It's the practice that really teaches you. Like as you practice, as you learn, as you meet people, that's how you become better at it. So I don't teach, because what I do is not craft. It's craft that you can do and do and do all over again. But I can share ideas with you on how to go about your art. Like, okay, tell me your life story first. Who are you? Why do you think you're drawn to this particular material? Because at the end of the day, it boils down to self-actualization, to your own motivation, because you want to enjoy what you're going to spend a lifetime doing. So that's why, for instance, you will not see me near plastic, because I don't think I will enjoy working with plastic. So the idea is first to, who are you? Not necessarily because something are selling, then you want to like join the train and just push out ways that apart from the physicality, there's nothing more to it. Like, oh, this work is fine, but then what more do you have to offer? So I take them through knowing who they are, what interests them, what do they like to talk about. And it's not, it's art, and art is free. You can talk about anything. You can just be inspired by nature, by plants, by water, or you just like the mindfulness that it brings and you want to share that with the world. So I don't teach people to necessarily to use fabric to work, but how to discover themselves, their true self, because then I believe my work would have been, I believe I'll be a lot happier with myself if after a conversation, you discover your paths.
That is wonderful, and I love that. Many people today are trying to model other people to look like them, like just a clone version of them. And I love what you said about more of you discovering yourself, your story. Who are you? And that way, to make your own job easier as a mentor, to be able to guide them and be able to connect them to resources that can really help them to thrive in life. Thank you very much for that. We'll still get back to asking a collective question to from four of you, but we'll go next to our next speaker for today, and the person of Mr. DOTUN Popoola. Mr. DOTUN Popoola, Lekon, don't worry, we'll still ask a question. I'm going to spotlight Mr. DOTUN very quickly. I'm going to ask him to unmute himself. Please unmute yourself, sir. So we have today in our midst Mr. DOTUN Popoola, who is a metal sculptor, a renowned metal sculptor from Nigeria. And I'm not going to be reading his bio because we have all the bios of the artists or the speakers compiled in a brochure, and they will share with all our participants already. But more today, we want to look at how the artist and what the role the artist plays in protecting the ecosystem, the waste in our environment, how the waste has become a nuisance. But then, a lot of artists are saying gold mine in all of these waste, and they are turning rubbish to rubies, they're turning waste to wealth and waste to well-being. And then, so we want to hear from Mr. DOTUN Popoola, whose expertise in the area of turning metal scraps into masterpieces. Mr. DOTUN Popoola, over to you, sir.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate this privilege given to me to be here today. I hope you can all hear me clearly. Yeah.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
So my name is DOTUN Popoola. Some people call me mad artist. Some people call me metal. You can call me any name you want to call me. And all I live with is turning discarded metal into a luxury piece of art. Let me just take you a little bit of story, because every artist has a story to tell. That basically that's a foundation to what we do. Precisely, maybe at the age of 9, my parents discovered that I was passionate about art, and they took me to a roadside artist called Nia's Creative Studio, Bodawaidi. And Bodawaidi taught me how to draw, how to sketch, and how to sculpt and do also how to cut rubber stamps. My parents saw the curiosity that this guy is going to turn something else, because each time I get home, I probably destroy many things at home in the name of creating something creative. So from there, I got admitted to Auchi Polytechnic, where I did my ND. Then I went to Obafemi Awolowo University to do my first degree. And, I wasn't satisfied with the first degree. I went back to do my master's. So in 2014, when I finished my master's, my first degree was in painting, my sculpture, but my second degree was in painting. So at the time in 2014, I was destabilized. I didn't even know where to practice or what to practice. At that moment, Nigerian arts market has been so saturated with, exhibitions of paintings, sculptures, and all sorts. So in 2014, I went online and I was looking for someone to mentor me. I got to meet a cowboy who lives in the US. That was John Lopez. So I went to him and I had a residency training. So I came back to Nigeria and I was like, okay, I don't even know how to start, because he uses farm equipment to create his sculptures. Then I couldn't get farm equipment to use here. So I went to my dad's workshop and I started picking up, different automobile parts and stuff like that. So in 2017, precisely, I started creating works from what people consider as junk, Although we've been doing scrap art in the school, during my undergraduate days, I was doing scrap art, but not at the level of the expertise that, I started doing after my residency. So in 2017, I created a body of works I'm very sure at that moment, I told him that, don't worry, kings and big boys are going to patronize my art. I just said that without, without knowing that it was going to turn something else. But, as God will have it, I did my first solo exhibition at the Signatures Art Gallery in Lagos in 2018, precisely. And it was a sold out. So when that happened, it gave me that confidence to go back to the studio and say, now I have seen you confident. I went into that market and, I went into that market, and immediately I got into that market, it became like the best place to be, my art became something that everybody want to have. If you say you have a luxury in your home and you don't have a piece from DOTUN Popoola, then you need to review your luxury. So the demand grew to like over 100%, because even me, I couldn't even satisfy, I couldn't fill in the demand. The demand grew more than what I could supply. So at that time, I had to review my price. Art marketing in Nigeria, basically, artists may not really know the nitty-gritty of how the art market goes. But because I was a curator with the National Gallery of Arts, I started doing a lot of research on how to market myself, how to sell myself as an artist and also as a curator. With that, it placed me maybe a little bit ahead, or it makes me to be at a particular edge. Then I can also call a price without, being scared or without anything. So, but at the time, I told myself that you can't be the artist and be the manager or be the marketer or be the curator. So I had to hire a curator who started curating my work. So that was when I met Art Pantheon. And about 2 years ago, I did another solo exhibition, which was titled Metala. So that also was a sold out. I mean, it was a talk of the market in Nigeria then. And since then, I have done several other shows, done shows in the US, several shows sold out in US, did show in Qatar, in India, in Turkey, I've done 2 shows in the UK, but not published. Now, basically, when I started doing all this scrap art, the focus wasn't to help the environment, because I mean, the way our environment is littered in Nigeria, basically, let's use Nigeria as a case study. Nigeria, you can't even save the whole of Nigeria, because people, you need to give people the orientation of how they are killing the environment before you can now show them how to save that environment. So when I started this series of work, I was just looking for an identity. I was looking for what people will know me for. But it got to a time that I was now conscious, oh, this is what I'm doing is environmental sustainability, the 3 major R, reuse, recycle, and repurpose. So my work started going towards that classification. And it also get to a time, I mean, recently I got engaged with some automobile company who were asking me what are the percentage of their automobile parts that I use, like how many percent of American cars do I use in my work? How many percentage of German discarded material do I use in my work? So, the research continued growing and growing and growing as I am growing also. So saving our environment is a very key. I think is the major conversation across the globe. I mean, we can tell that waste in the water kills, the aquatic life. Metal on our road, in our water, the corrosions that, that the waterways can get from metal disposals can be so harmful to aquatic life, even we that are drinking the water. So saving our environment is something that all of us need to focus on, even if you are not doing recycling or upcycling. We all need to use our art as a voice, to save, the ecosystem. So my work moved towards that direction, and it started, the conversation grew up around, saving the ecosystem. But basically, the major thing that my work has also done is to save our culture. I mean, the culture are going into extinction, to save our, our environment, to save, to create a narrative around what the community need to know about. Now, in recent time, I was trying to check what are the percentage of waste that, what are the percentage of waste that are being generated or that are being trashed or dumped on the road today. You discover that daily, the percentage of waste that, I mean, using Nigeria as a case study now, the percentage of waste that Nigeria put on the road alone is more than the percentage of cleanliness that we have. And someone did a research. He said in the next 2030, by 2030, the amount of waste that will be in our environment will be triple of what we have today. So why do we have to waste time to start talking about, saving our environment? We need to just start that conversation now. We need to start the conversation now. We need to encourage a lot of people to, to start talking about recycling, to start talking about repurposing, to start talking about, reusing materials. I mean, a lot of restaurants in US, even in India, you will see that on their bottle cover, you see recycle immediately. You see the sign recycle, and some of them even have different trash can where they collect metal waste, plastic waste, paper waste, different kind of waste. And we all see that, these are ways for an artist, to get out of poverty. The truth of the matter is the market is saturated. You need to have a core value. You need to have a message to sell. And that is when people can take you seriously. Well, I think on this note, I want to say thank you so much for listening to me. I don't know if there's any question, or I don't want us to overflood this topic, because we know definitely that we have other speakers that are still coming to talk.
No, we still have time. I still have the time for you. So you're just getting started. You're not done. You're just getting started. Okay. I've known you for almost like 16 years now, and I know you just started first as two-dimensional artist more. That's what I know you as. That your work is mostly paintings. You did a lot of paintings and drawings and paintings. What changed for you? Why did you change? Why did you move from two-dimensional art into now three-dimensional art to monumental artistic expressions? So why did you? I know maybe when you were in school, when your fourth grade project or something, and then you refused to do painting, you just did something else. Why?
Well, I wouldn't lie to you. There are a lot of things that happen to different artists at different time in their career. But for me, I still want to believe that nothing really changed. I only want to explore the other side of my creative abilities. I think when I call myself a painter, I'm just limiting myself. Now, it won't shock you that in near future, I may go into automobiles, because I strongly believe that art should evolve. Now, if you look at the series of hybrid sculpture that I create, you would see that most of them are very colorful. Now, I move my passion for two-dimensional put that passion. It's a couple of people that have tried to do, like scrap art the way I do it, and by the time the person tried to put paint on them, the work would just, turn out to something else. So the understanding, the in-depth knowledge of my painting is still having its ways, in my sculpture. So I really didn't leave, but I mean, definitely there's always room for demand and supply. When there is demand for your sculpture, then you have to pay less attention on two-dimensional. So there's a high demand for my sculpture that I can't even meet up with. So I just needed to focus more and let people know me for that. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
No, you did very well, but I'm also going to dig a bit deeper into the role of the creatives. I mean, from Marcelina, what she's doing with waste fabrics, and you using metal scraps as well. What would you say is the artist's role in waste economy? In the waste economy, what's the artist's role in the waste economy?
Well, if I want to be very sincere with you, most artists that I know are not really interested in creating a narrative for that waste economy. That is just the bitter truth. All we want to do is to pick a material that we communicate the idea in our mind. But I have had several conversations with Ministry of Environment. They want me to have, partnership with them so that we can actually contribute to waste economy. The truth of the matter is, if you bring me, let me use myself, I can't speak for another person. If you bring me to Ministry of Environment to come and to condition my mind strictly towards using my art for that purpose, I will tell you tomorrow I will change and I'll start using something else. But for the purpose of to meet the international to meet the conversation of waste and environmental sustainability. That is why some of us get involved in all these things. But we just have to face the reality. We need to do more. Actually, we need to actually do more. Some of us are not totally satisfied with the resources that our works are bringing to us. Then you now want me to now be saving one environment. So basically, we just need to be truthful to ourselves. But this conversation that we're having today is actually re-echoing it into our mind that this is who we are. We are environmentalists. We are actually meant to be doing this, and we will continue to do it. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. That is brilliant. And thank you so much for your sincerity. I would just encourage us to populate the chat. If you have more questions for Mr. DOTUN Popoola, please do drop your questions there. I'm looking at what you do with metal scraps.
Okay.
How do you, Marcelina spoke about going to the tailor shops and then gathering these materials that she uses in her creative expressions. How do you fetch your metal scraps? How do you get your metal, the discarded materials? How do you put them together to make the work, the kind of work that you do, please?
Well, you have just asked two questions together. How do I fetch my materials and how do I put them together? And I will answer them one by one. When I started this series of hybrid sculpture, I was going to my dad's workshop, to pick up scraps. But how many tons, how many kilos of scraps can my dad give to me? When you look at the mass, the amount of work that I create in a year, and you look at the mass, the size of the work, you would see that those scraps are not what you can pick just on the road. So what I do basically is to go to the scrap yard and pick them. Sometimes I will go to trailer scrap yard. Sometimes I will go to a bike scrap yard. Sometimes I will buy a complete car and butcher it, pieces it. I mean, a complete car that has been, trashed, definitely, and pieces it, butcher it. Sometimes I could just leave my studio. My studio is located around the Ife. I will travel to like Akure. Sometimes I will go to Ogun State, go to Lagos. Sometimes I will even pick scrap from US and put it in my luggage. Sometimes I'll buy a car, I'll buy a complete car and put a lot of trash inside it. I mean, scraps from US, put it inside my truck or my car, and ship it to Nigeria. Sometimes, I pick scrap from different places because whenever I'm going to the scrap yard, I pick them with my color sense. What do I mean? I pick different colors of bike tanks, different colors of, different kind of scraps. Now, putting them together, by my training, I learned TIG welding in the US. I learned MIG welding. I know how to do the normal arc welding. I basically joined my works together using, welding, definitely welding. So it's why we're trying to save the environment, in quote. You see that some of these Hausa people, let me, apologies to the culture, they go every day on the road to different mechanic shop to pick those scraps and dump them in a scrap yard. Gone are those days when you can actually get scrap for free. For now, we buy each scrap per kg, and now it's very expensive. So in the midst of trying to save the environment, you also buy those debts that are littering the environment to use to create those works. That was when I started saying, okay, I'm creating luxury pieces, because buying scraps is now more expensive than buying oil color. Buying scraps is more expensive than buying canvas. Sometimes I could buy a car of 2 million naira and butcher it. Can you imagine that? I remember the last show I did in Qatar. The Art Council drove a car of 2010, and because they couldn't get a scrap in their own country, they had to drive a car of 2010 for us to butcher it and use it to create our works. So it's just like that. It is what it is. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. I love what you said about now buying scraps is luxury. People think scraps is just like, yeah, people think like scraps are just waste. Now, people's eyes are now open more than ever before to see that there's so much wealth in the materials in their possession and how much can come out of that. And thank you so much for opening the eyes of everyone to see how much of creative expression can come out of what people call as dead materials. You're giving second life to inanimate object. That's where I see it. I'm going to come back to that, but let's take our third speaker very quickly. I'm coming back to you. All right? I'm coming back.
Thank you so much.
Our third speaker very quickly. I will go to, we'll start with a woman, we went to a man. I'll go to a woman now, right? I'll go to a woman. I'll go to our third speaker will be a woman. I will invite Mrs. Foluke Michael. If you don't mind, I'm going to spotlight you very quickly. I know you are a champion in the area of climate action. Like, you are a champion. And you are one incredible woman that I have come to admire over the years because of the great works that you do and how you work with government institutions how you work with private sector, how you work with diplomatic missions, how you work with global institutions like the United Nations, right? And we would love to hear your story around protecting the ecosystem through creativity and what you've been doing over the years, how you have been mobilizing community members, how you've been mobilizing other people, other actors, other stakeholders, how you've been pushing the boundary to ensure that there is a wake-up call to save mother health, to save the environment, to make sure that people get it right, people do it right. So I'm going to ask you to say a few things very, very quickly. So our third speaker today is Mrs. Foluke Michael, who is the founder of Art for Social Good. Mrs. Foluke, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so very much for bringing me on board, my dearest brother. You have overloaded my head in the last, even though I've been coming in and out of this conference. Honestly, you inspire me so greatly. Thank you for being who you are in Nigeria. And I think together we'll make this African great. No matter what is happening in Africa now, there is a great future. And of course, back to Mr. DOTUN Popoola that we will not just have you buy scraps as just luxury. You're doing amazing things. I don't know why Nigeria hasn't discovered you and make you a champion to help us get to where we need to get. And this is the problem with Nigeria. We have the talent that will help Nigerians. And then of course, they won't look at them because look, what is doing alone can develop circular economy in Nigeria and generate funding locally and internationally and take a lot of people off the streets. I will, through Mr. Kunle, I have to get in touch with you. You will not just going to hide as doing your own business, please. We need you. Nigeria need you. We need to make the noise because do you know how many DOTUN Popoola you give back to? Not by teaching them what you do, but by just looking at the entire value chain and create businesses, green businesses. I will go to that later. So, something will shock you right now. I'm actually a civil engineer by profession. I practiced for many years. And my core competence is actually structure. And, you know, I've done a whole lot of things. My greatest achievement right now is art and creativity. Believe me, I don't know, artists might not see themselves as billionaires or will not see them as millionaires, might not be seeing themselves in this part of the world alone. Of course, abroad is not the same thing because they don't even know what God has put right inside of them. And because this environment is not even encouraging certain profession. So we think, oh, we're just surviving, we're just doing this, and few artists are making it. I must tell you that I'm one of the first few promoters in Nigeria that took Nigerian artists from the shore of this country and ensured dollars were given cash, euro to Caterina de Medici International Painting Award in Italy. And that is how the journey started. It's a long journey. So I'm just going to jump quickly to what we're doing right now. The world, what would you do if you know that what you're doing right now is the honey that the world needs? I'm sure you jump. The world right now, and when I say the world leaders, whether as under the umbrella of the European Union or under the umbrella of United Nations, they are looking for solutions here and there. And we are the Joseph to help the world get to where they need to get to. And art is the major tool. Why? I was speaking at a conference some years back, and I said, all of us are actually artists. The moment you can birth an idea, imagine it, start drafting that idea on your paper, even when you're not an artist. You realize that as you're putting the dots, you're putting the effect, the problem, the solution, the future, and you're putting all this in form of rough sketch. You're actually painting. Now, the world is framed by the greatest artists. And it will take artists to bring the world from where they are to the future they need to be. And that is where I'm so happy to be leading this change, not just in Nigeria, but globally. Art for social good. So how do we get to where we are? The environment, like Marcelina said, like artists said just a few minutes ago, Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos and Nigeria. I say Lagos because Lagos looks like Nigeria itself. We are all here. This state is littered with all sorts, very dirty. They don't even have an idea. They don't even have an idea what they are going to do with the waste they are piling right now. You can see around Ojota, it's so like going up. Now, have you ever thought about environmental pollution? We are all inhaling it. Have you ever talked about health? This is art in medicine body. I mean, group coming together. Have you ever thought of the effect of the air we breathe in Nigeria? I'm just being local now, in Lagos and other parts of Nigeria. Have you ever thought of traveling, how the air travel into our systems? And yet, we don't even know the kind of food we should be eating, because Lagos is actually a dumping ground for all sort of food from different places, pour in gutter wash, and we go to Abula, we go to different places. Have you ever thought of how this food gets into our system and chemical is stored in our how to do research, in our liver and our kidney. So when somebody is sick and very sick, near death, people might jokingly say it's village people. No, it's lack of information people, because we are taking junk from the environment. And before you know it, the liver says, no, I've taken enough chemical, I'm sick. The kidney says, no, I've taken. And here again, we are doctors, everybody in Nigeria. We are doctors, we're nurses. When you have just a bit of ache here, you're like, oh, this could be typhoid, this could be this. So we go to Nigeria is a work of art that needs to be put on canvas or through sculpture. Believe me, that is the world we are living in. So the effect of not doing the right thing, we are, except you move to Sweden, you move to Clean City, Singapore, you move to Switzerland, you move to most of these Scandinavian countries, they're actually very close to carbon neutral, okay? But if you remain in this country and you don't talk environment, you don't talk sustainable agriculture, you don't talk sustainable health, you don't talk of art in medicine, please, we have to rethink the country we are. So in 2018, I won the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal Award in Innovator category out of about 764 participants, like in form of countries, organizations around the world from 126 countries. I don't know, miraculously, we ended up being the first at the innovator. And this is the last innovator they've ever had in 2018. I took something home about climate change, and I said to myself, I must be a champion within my community, within my state, within my country, and the world. Since that day till now, I haven't rested. And thank God for the team of amazing people, artists. You know, I'm working with artists, I'm working with engineers, I'm working with innovators, doers, and all of that. We decided to use art because what got us the title in Germany was using art. I remember my brother was there when we would actually declare that Art for Corruption open at Lekki Film House. It was the art we used to communicate social problems and resolve into the kind of solutions we're going to be looking at. We decided to go the same route. So let me take you through the step we have used over the years and where we're going to. Okay, the future is by 2030, we want to be able to create 5 million green enterprises. And these people are coming from arts, okay? We're going to create 5 million green enterprises. We're going to create millions of students in Nigeria that are going to be green ambassadors. And they're going to be innovative. They're also going to be entrepreneurs. They are going to be art innovation that we form ourselves and using technology to arrive at their destination. So we started by one, looking at what issues are we looking at in Nigeria. This issue of environmental sustainability, like Mr. Popoola rightly said a few seconds ago, that is the only trending word in the world today, not just here, all around the world. Why? Because the world we are living in is likely to sink by 2080, and I have the research. And if we do nothing, we are all going to be affected. Unfortunately, you could be white, green, or blue, but we only have one house, and our house is called planet. The next planet or whatever is called Mars or every other ones cannot sustain us. It's not the kind of environment we can live. And we don't have the kind of money Elon Musk has to move to another place entirely. No way for it. So if we want to make this art work, we believe that the earth is possible. The planet is doable. So it is time for us to call for solution. For instance, the solution to environmental uncleanliness in Nigeria, it's a conversation that needs to start, like the last speaker said, like yesterday. So we call in for solution. We started from a university that we identified. We started calling for solution. How may we use what we have, our creativity, our innovativeness to solve global problem? And we call it Solution 17 for climate action. So we did that in year 2020, and we produced 17 green enterprises. We didn't want to stop at just using one university. We threw the challenge open in 2021 through the Niger Climate Now, and we're calling for solutions for climate adaptation, which is one of the solutions that Marcelina is actually, that's why the artist on this call, honestly, you're doing amazing things. You need to get out of your comfort zone. That is what she's doing. That's what DOTUN Popoola is actually doing, calling in for solutions to solve the solution to climate adaptation in Nigeria. And we got 34 solutions across 5 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, okay? We had hundreds of those solutions, and we selected only 34 from the north, from the east, from the west, from the south. I was selected them in collaboration, of course, with United Nations, German Embassy, with British High Commission. We just wanted the conversation to be very, very open, okay? And then we got the 34 solution. Meanwhile, before now, we had started to help students. You know, when you are helping at very early age, we've been helping children from 2010 on how the children in Nigeria can develop their innovativeness, the vision towards the environment they live without even knowing about sustainable development goals. That started with Professor Wole Soyinka that happened to be working with. So for over 18 years, we have been working with children to see how they can reason in artistic form. Guess what? This man, Professor Soyinka, has inspired this environmental change that we're working on now. He said to me, Folu, I'm going to be giving topic per year, and I want every children in Lagos State to participate. And I said, okay, what age is he looking at? The man told me age 8 to 12. I mean, you can imagine age 8 to 12 talking about the world problem. And I told him it's impossible. He said, try it. That this is the age that creativity can be promoted. And then we started. Believe me, we've treated topics that you would not even imagine that it's possible to treat by children. Guess what? These children of 8, 9, 10 are our environmental champion in different universities today, and they are artists. They've put the perception of Nigeria, our social problem, our political problem, the corruption that is enigma in Nigeria, they put it on canvases, on watercolor. They've developed paintings to a level like they have become like engineers, creating products that will help us to get to where we need to get to in Nigeria. So we invited our environmental artists, the young children of 8, 9 years old, just yesterday. They are now like 17, 18, 19, 20 in the university, to look at these solutions that were submitted across Nigeria. we ask them to develop that in painting form, any form. We had to tell them, look, we need all sorts of creativity. Whichever way they can use, they were free to use mental, they were free to use theme, they were free to use anything, but we just wanted those paintings to be created. Lo and behold, by November 1, 2021, those paintings were exhibited at Italian Embassy for COP26. Prior to that, the paintings were in exhibition at British High Commission for them to show the world that it's possible. Today, this painting is the first virtual climate exhibition online that you can actually find, and this painting will be talking to you. We have them, I'm going to share a website with you very quickly. So this is what we have done with artists. Believe me, by the time we exhibited those work, we realized that we have to move Nigerian children from just being normal children in secondary school studying physics, maths. Honestly, I don't know what we gained from all of that. In those days, we cram formulas and all of that. I don't know what we gained from them. So let the students see art as tool that will expand their imagination to do great things in life. So we introduced that. Today, we're running with trees from art. The artwork, the 17-hour work that was opened, that was launched by Amina Mohammed, the UN Secretary, United Nations Deputy Secretary General in 2020, has now sparked a huge conversation around the world. We are now using the arts as a means to generate funding to solve environmental problems. Are you getting it? It started from art, okay? It started from creativity, and we have solutions, and then we have enterprises. And those enterprises need funding. Art is a tool to fund these enterprises and develop circular economy. We are doing that. So what we have done is to partner with Lagos State government to start, because our dream is to have 10 million trees in Nigeria, and it's called Trees from Art. 10 million trees, economic trees in Nigeria, across Nigeria, between now and September 25, 2030. And the dream is to have 100,000 of those trees in this state, Lagos State. We know we won't be able to do this alone because we need partnership for the goal. We need the state government to give us access because we are planting different. Remember, we're using art to plant trees. So we need to expand the horizon of the student in different schools in ensuring that they get the story and they participate. So Lagos State government gave us the list of the first 41 schools that we are going to be impacting. So in 41 schools, we're going to be planting 2,050 trees with 2,050 trees manager, the students. And of course, we have created Club 50 in each of the schools. So we have 2,050 club members that are coming into our community. Some of them might end up not being artists, but we are using art to motivate them. If you're going to be a scientist, draw first. It's by force. If you're going to be a designer, a fashion designer, let us see what you can do. So we are allowing them to pour down, like Mr. Dotun said, pour down what is inside of them and create it. We are not saying, oh, this is the best artist. They are all best. We're not choosing the best out of them. They are all best. But pour out your art in paper form, in sculpture form, anyhow, pour it out and showcase it to the world. So as they are doing that, we are taking them through entrepreneurship, innovation, activation, technology, and the world of SDGs. So at the end of this first phase, we're going to have 2,050 champions because none of them will drop out. Why? Because we are incorporating teachers, we are incorporating school management, we are incorporating educators, we are incorporating international and local agencies and government to ensure that they succeed. Why? We are using art to get people out of poverty so that they can diversify from one level of creativity to the other. And we're putting them in innovation hub. If Olumide has an idea, and Bola has an idea, Emeka has an idea, the three ideas can come together and form something powerful. We're teaching them stakeholder collaboration, partnership, so that they can start making money. Look at the education system in Nigeria today. You see, was it like this when we were going to school? The answer is a big no, okay? We want these children and these youth of today to create secular economy that would make everyone to thrive. So 2 things we have developed now. We have developed a relationship with a government, German government, to say, okay, if you are part of German companies in Nigeria, come to us and invest into these children and their school. As of today, we've had 4 organizations, German organizations signing up. The second one is NFT. We've been able to put those things, they are not on OpenSea live, but we already have OpenSea accounts, and we are collaborating globally so that we can launch those 17 NFTs. Of course, it's going to be with variations. We're going to start with 2 and we'll move to 17. The funding generating through NFT is coming back to develop these children. So it's not just going to be business as usual. We are desperate. This country must have leadership. Believe me, when you're talking about these leaders are not good, please, do you have replacement for them? We have to back the new generation with integrity. With money in their hand, we need to create wealth. We need to create circular economy through art. So in such that you bring rice to my community, and I've groomed about 2050, none of these children or youth will take a cup of rice from you for votes. No way. None of them will be poor. That is what we are creating. This world, like I said earlier, we are living in is basically unsustainable. And the world is working towards global net zero. Global net zero and low carbon Nigeria. Our president said we'll get to low carbon Nigeria by 2060. Honestly, it is untrue. Without mobilizing all these artists, without mobilizing all this circular economy and youth, there's no way it's gonna happen. We are fueling the economy with fossil fuel. We need art to redirect the economy, open up another sector called art. Art in whatever, in health, art in agriculture, art in environmental sustainability, art in water, art everywhere, so that we can develop another oil. Another oil. Art is our next oil that we are not harnessing. We are harnessing it so I can tell you what is coming out of it and begin to develop Nigeria. Before I round up, I want to let you know that Nigeria is doable. It needs me and you to do something crazy. Something that people will tell you you're actually mad. Yes. Until they tell you, if they don't tell you you're mad and crazy, like they might be telling my brother some years ago, art in Metsi, Kilon Jebe. This art in Metsi is another topic for another day because I've been following him up. When we are going to come up with something in collaboration with art in medicine very soon, because this is where SDG 3 comes in, and we need to really create a big conversation around it. So we have created a technology system. We have 2 technology powering what we are doing now. We have to look inward and outward to get to where we are going. One of the reasons why projects die in Nigeria is lack of financing. So if you look forward and you know you're going to get stuck, start looking for where you get your financing. So we have created like a community, green community, where artists, architects, designer, we call them green, and this Mr. Popoola will put in there, green art, green sculpture, green everything will come together. They will do business on that platform. It can empower 20 people will empower 20 people, and so on. We build community with wealth, and they can transact on that system. It's not open, but we have finished the design. The second one is when we launch Trees from Art on April 7th. The reason why we did Trees from Art is because Nigerian government has told us that planting of trees will help us to go carbon neutral, okay, in the future. But ask Mr. Buhari or Minister for Environment, of all the millions of trees they planted, whether in Sabinsa Forest or any forest, please, can they show us where they are? The answer is no. Now, Lagos State government told us openly, I mean, before the press guys, on April 7th, that they've planted about 10 million trees in Lagos. Believe me, with all due respect, where are they? So we have come up with their problems and we created a solution. In the next 3 weeks, we're going to invite all of you, because I will tell Mr. Kule, in the next 3 weeks, we are going to be launching Solution 17 Forest. Now, As of today, this morning, we have planted 253 trees in 5 schools, and we are going to 41 schools. These trees are going to be monitored by technology. These trees will read carbon footprint and the carbon that we are saving by environment for cleanliness. We need quality air. And then somebody that is sitting in Dubai can use the code, go into the web and see where the tree is located in Badagry. When the tree was planted, what kind of tree, what species, and the trees can even start to talk to you because it's powered by artificial intelligence. So what are we doing? We're creating work through this art for technologists, for innovators, for doers, for creators, for everyone around, until we make this work, until DOTUN Popoola becomes 5 million, until Kunle Adewale becomes 5 million, one person 5 million, until Yusuf becomes 5 million. That is the only way we can change Nigeria. So all of us can now come together and say, let us redirect Nigeria. You know why? We have empowered community with money. We have innovation. We are a force to reckon with. We're not coming together as Nigerian force. Yes, call it anything. Armed forces, art forces. And then we determine who our leaders is. Because no matter what we do in this environment, these people will still eat the money. Okay? Because we know that corruption is still high. We want to build culture of integrity among our own community. We can say, Oya Kunle, are you interested in leading Nigeria? We will mobilize our community to vote without money. This is where we are going to. Nigeria can never get rid of environmental problem without leadership. So as we are putting our quota to solving Nigeria problem, and we are using technology. They have rejected technology because technology will kill corruption. But we will not reject technology. We will monitor our data until we're able to populate our app. And then we control, we have funding, we will get international. That's why we're doing this partnership with international. You know why? When we need to get money in Germany in 2-3 years, German embassy in Nigeria will write, we know about them, we'll be working with them for 7 years. British will write, we'll know about them. So we can mobilize funding and resources, we'll monitor them, we'll map out data, we'll create wealth. And all of this will hinge on art, artists, and the art world. Our environment is important. Please, as I'm telling you right now, the children have taught me a lot working with them. I'm now growing my own apps, my own vegetable. I don't buy anything like that in the market anymore. I have like 24 of those flower pots that is growing 1 or 2 things that I eat. So when I inhale the stupid things in Lagos, I'll come back in the evening and do my own agbo, drink it and detox myself. So, because if you're going to lead change, you must not fall sick. We are in an environment that is not sustaining our health. That is where the art in medicine come in. Guys and my people, let us mobilize against bad environment. It is not enough to make the money. It is enough for, except you want to move to countries. I've mentioned the countries you can move to. Except you're ready to move to those countries. If you love Nigeria, let us put our voice behind this country. Let us develop youth and children. Let us open their creativity. Like today, we went to Robert Bosch, Germany, joined us, partnered with us, and they have taken 2 schools in Badore. So early this morning, we have gone to Badore. We got there to tell them, Bosch has been existing for over 130 years. I'm going to be posting about it this evening. They've been existing for over 130 years, my people. This company, this is sitting on they have 600 physical company headquarters all around the world, and they're in over 120 countries of the world. They've been listening for 100 plus. How do you think they got there? Arts, innovation, creativity, inventfulness, and technology. You feel that we can't grow one here with these students. So we went there to get them to plant their trees, to get them to identify their trees, to get a situation whereby those organizations can be funding scholarship and help them to arrive at their destination. It can work for us. We all can make it work. Thank you very much for being a solution provider to this to our nation. Appreciate.
Fireworks. Fireworks. I, I don't know what to say. In fact, I don't even have any question to ask actually, because it's fireworks, definitely. You've said so much, man. I think it's just incredible to see, you know, the way the conversation actually shift from materials to now more of institutionalizing change in the area of protecting the environment. So it's more of now mobilizing action and actors and stakeholders on different levels. So it's more of how do you make this change happen? Mobilize the actors, mobilize the stakeholders. So rather than one person, it's more of like an institution that is now driving that change to connect more people to make this a reality. An incredible response from you, man. Very, very wonderful. Because of our time, we'll go to the fourth, the speaker for today very quickly, because we have to close in the next 20 minutes thereabouts. We'll like him to just speak out from there. We'll just take 1 or 2, 3 questions, then we'll just close immediately, right? But thank you so much. Our next speaker is an amazing artist as well, who is pro-environment, who has been doing a lot of work in the environment. He's Yusuf Durodola, who is a multimedia artist, and also I will call him an environmental artist as well. And then, so he will tell us what he has been doing very quickly, and then we can take our question and close for today. Mr. Yusuf, over to you, please. Okay, so you can't really talk, so let me try to unmute you, please. I thought I made you pause earlier on. Okay, yes, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Good evening. Mr. Foluke, thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about the environment. I really appreciate that. I'm Yusuf Durodola. You might call me an environmentalist, but I actually see myself as a visual artist. I started my art as far back as age 7. You know, my dad's a fashion designer, and art has been part of my life through the ages. But talking about this particular theme, my art or my journey into recycling work started when I was planning to do a project at Unilag. During that period, I was planning to break a Guinness World Record, documenting the Senate building with screw. But when I look at the time frame and I look at the financial implication, I couldn't just near the completion of that project. So I have to switch from, using that and look for another medium. Then in looking at that, I was thinking of documenting the person that is controlling the affairs of that Senate building in Unilag. So then I picked Vice Chancellor. Then after getting that, I was looking at the materials to be used for that image. Then I thought of the materials that everyone on campus just using to depict the picture. So I was picking different things from the campus, school campus, and the premises all around, pencils, plastics, different things. So I started using that items to depict the image. At the initial stage, I was demoralized by people's comments that this work will not be a success because they couldn't even get the vision, the dream of what I'm looking at. Then I myself, I was just trying, put my efforts, put my faith that this will come to reality. During that period, it was just like a battlefield for me because I've never done that kind of thing before. I was just trying to bring all those things together. So during when I was speaking those things, and the people around, they have seen the materials that I was using, they began to connect with the work by dropping those items that normally they would just throw out, on the floor around. So they began to put those items beside the work. And whenever I come around and I saw the image, I saw the works, I saw what the materials that they have given me, one thing that always, come to my mind is these people actually, they are sensitive to all these things. But I realized that there was no structure. There was nothing to structure their way of dealing with those items. And that is why we got ourselves into all these dropping things. When you are walking, you drink water and you are moving around, nowhere to drop it, no waste being around you. Definitely for long, people just drop it, find way to just drop it. And gradually, we got ourselves into that kind of mess. So in the initial stage, I didn't plan of any environmental issue, any environmental work at all. It wasn't my mind of doing that. My mind was, let me engage with these items and bring out the beauty of this piece. But later, I realized that something is actually missing. Something is not right here. If the people around me could sense that they need to be dropping this beside the work, definitely what I'm seeing out there, if we have a proper structure out there, people will actually key into it. So from that first image, that's the image of Vice Chancellor Unilag. I did that, and at the end of the day, it was so incredible. People comment, wow, wow, wow. When you are looking at the image from far, you think maybe it's just a normal painting, but moving close to it and people screaming, what? So that gave me that, energy to move on and to deep into recycling of those items. Then looking around my vicinity, look at the mess everywhere, and for what I've experienced from people, I began to ask myself a series of questions. Why can't we change? Then I believe it's possible, because if you can think about it, then it is possible. So the next question I asked myself, if I want to do this, and sincerely, my mission is to just change people's orientation, and that's all. Not because I'm doing it because I want to get the money. Money is coming, I was like, I want to do something I want to talk to them. I want to reactivate their sense of, connecting to the environment. So I asked the question, am I to use these materials that my people call trash as trash? It is possible for you to engage with trash items and at the same time produce the work like trash. So I asked, if I really want to change people's mindset and I want them to connect with my work, then my trash has to be treasure. And I started by doing very tedious and challenging work, putting all those items together. So now the work on the screen, the one on the right, that's my first attempt. And the other one on the left I did that one in 2021 in the show. So my joy, seeing people coming around my work and connect with it, they couldn't just resist to go away from it. The one we are looking on the screen made from the plastic, soft plastic, and that is the plastic bags. So I kept asking series of questions, asking myself series of questions. Then I go into research. I realized that this plastic, to decompose the plastic, it takes 450 years. Imagine that, 450 years to decompose just plastic, one plastic. And we have a lot of them on the streets, lying down there. But the truth of the matter is, if we are saying you want to take this, an artist looking at, I want to take these away from the street, is a huge journey, is a lot of work. And the best way for me to go about this is engaging the kids, engaging the younger ones, because the older generation, we have deep down into this mismanagement of all these items into our environment, and it's actually killing. So if we start from the younger ones, definitely they are very young and they can quickly key into it. And it is even so easier for them to be correcting the adults. The adults correcting them might sound something else, but when you engage the younger ones, the kids, to do that, then definitely it's going to work better. So when people see my works and they connect, in every of my works, you look at the image, you look at the composition, you look at the items, everybody can connect with the works. And that gives me joy of moving on, producing more works about it. Then because of my own sensitivity and my dream, my intention of how I find myself into recycling work, it's also shaping my theme around those works. Like the one on the left, I titled that one, "You Ain't Hate Me, Do You?" That is, you did not hate me. Don't tell me you hate me. I always look around, wrap my theme around the environment. So here, the space is telling us that you don't hate me. Don't tell me you hate me, because I've actually given you everything about me. You worked on me, you build on me, you do all sort of things on me. Even when you die, you have been buried in me. So why do you need to hate me? So here, I do tell people that if you actually don't hate the environment, you don't trash anyhow. It was later on my art now began to see the beauty, the incredible aspect of it. People comment and they couldn't just imagine how I got to this. But the truth of the matter is, I look around what is happening, and that is empowering my creative energy. Apart from all these that I've said, in looking at this, I see, when God created us, we are also an artwork. But God has the power of breathing into us, and we are living, we are moving around. Now let's look at insects. God breathed into insect, and insect is moving around. Now, we as human, we created our own pieces too, but we couldn't just have that willpower to breathe into them so that they could move around. So for me, I see from that perspective that those items that we are littering, we are calling trash, is actually, they are also living, they also have souls. So those items, I see them from the perspective of having souls. And I now connect that to human life. Now, I want to use this opportunity to say, the way we relate with our materials, our environment, all those items, is actually the way we are relating with each one another. We are relating with ourselves. You see people suffering, you see people dying, and we don't even care. Life goes on, we move on. We don't even have that feeling that something is missing. And it's because the way we deal with the environment. For me, I see that environment as the invisible body that houses our physical body. And the physical body houses the soul. So when the invisible body is tampered, is seriously tampered, there is no way the physical one will survive, will live a better life. And if the physical one is having an issue, then there's problem with the soul. And that is why, as human collectively, we are not connected, because the major space that connects all of us together, which is our environment, we have been able to detach ourselves from the environment. Now, apart from creating a physical work that people, can connect with, I'm a performance artist, and I engage in psychological aspect of how people relate with all these items and how we trash. So in 2016, I did a performance that I titled Show Me You Love Me. In that performance, I wrap myself with all this trash and I move on the street and I tell people to hug me. They couldn't just hug me. And so they are moving away from me. And I told them, I narrated it from that perspective, from that performance, that we are running away from the environment. So if we are running away from that environment, there's no way, even we are living in that environment, to be able to connect. Until when we are so sensitive to that environment and we take good care of the environment, and that is how the little things that is happening to people around us will be so meaningful, will be so, we have connected to those things. Today, we are disconnected from each one another because we have not been able to have that strong connection that we're supposed to have for the environment. So for me, I am an environmentalist because I'm so sensitive to that. I look around, I look at the gutter, I look at how everything is just being blocked. And it's so sad that my fear is when this thing now gets into a culture, a proper culture. Presently, we are driving to that level, and we all need to stop it. If we don't, in fact, the effort we're going to create in future, I cannot even imagine if we don't stop. Because when these actions become culture, then there's no way you want to stop it. So this is the high time we need to stop that. So in some of my performance, my works, the title always give people a kind of reactivating them to think why this person did this work and why this theme, why this title. There is one that I title Who Impregnated the Earth. Now we have forgotten that the more we trash is the more we impregnate the earth, and the earth definitely give us the baby, and the baby is erosion, flood. Then when we are not having that, why are we complaining? Because we actually impregnated the earth, and we don't see ourselves as the playmaker. There's one that I title Behind the Scene. We are actually the behind the scene of what is happening to our environment. But when we get to a particular environment, we say this environment, these people here, they are so dirty. But we have forgotten that that thing that you drop miles far from where you are now is actually moved by breeze or by erosion to that particular space, and it's affecting all the people. And mind you, the people living in that environment also contributing to it. And at the end of the day, don't we say, government, come and save us. Government to save who? Who are the government? Because we don't see ourselves as part of it. Now, the one we are looking at is the performance that I titled Show Me You Love Me. It is very obvious that we don't actually love the environment, because I cannot be in this kind of costume and you want to hug me. You won't hug me. And that's exactly what I've projected, for people to see that we hate this environment. And that is why we are destroying this environment. We kill people, innocent blood. We splashed it on the floor, which is so sad, and how those things are coming to us. Well, it is our own fault because we created it. We created that atmosphere. So for me, I engage the materials from the perspective of having it as a soul. Because if you pick in any of my work, if you pick any item out, singularly, they might not make any meaningful, statements to you. But collectively, when you see them as a whole, they make that impact that you are feeling. And for me, I see that if we individually, we are trying to just pick and fix this, it won't work. One Yusuf cannot make any changes. One DOTUN cannot make any changes. And any other person, Marcelina, cannot make any changes. But if collectively we have massive turnaround, we move into this and we create body of works at the same. In art, there's different art forms at different time. There was time that they have realism, you know, some artists came up with impressionism, you know, different things like that. At this moment, what we have is to engage with those plastic, to engage with the material, the item that is threatening the environment. If we don't do that, that is what we need to do at this time, because the situation at hand, we define what we need to do. Before, there wasn't like a smooth communication, but today through technology, some people thought of that idea. How can I be in Nigeria and be speaking with someone in UK? Today, all of us connect on one platform through technology, and that was the innovation of some creative, you know, personnel. As presently now, with what is happening with our environment, it is time, and that is the to us that those items are actually what we're supposed to be engaging with. Now, get to schools. As an event person, I engage, you know, with art events for secondary school in the past, some years back, and I realized that there was no, you know, arts subject in some schools. But today, because they believe arts materials, they couldn't get the materials, they couldn't get these. This is time to, you know, recycle what we can easily find on the floor, and for those kids to engage with them. Of recent, I saw one school, they were just doing maybe inter-house sports, and I saw them and I approached the school. Can I have a kind of a workshop with these kids, you know, creating recycling items, bottle, we use it to create some flowers and things like that in the school. And the proprietors asked me how much, you know, for me to engage them. I said, it's just free, because I just want to connect with their mind, with their soul. Let them see that all these things they are, you know, throwing away is actually possible for them to turn it around, turn it into something meaningful, something they can embrace. And, you know, what we call trash, it is not the item that is trash. It is our mind that is saying those items are trash. It is mindset. If we actually want to change what we are, you know, what is disturbing the environment, we have to engage people's mind. If not, we keep, you know, dialoguing, we keep talking about all this. It is mind that's actually creating, making people to see this is trash. But when the mind is telling you it's not trash, the mind of artists tells artists that this thing is not trash, it's treasure. And that is why artists can see from that perspective of turning it around and making it, rebranding it, and give them the second life, you know, the second chance to live. Then in one of my performances that I did on this recycling stuff, there's one that I titled Akudaya. Akudaya is a Yoruba word that means untimely death. Now, we give all these items untimely death because they're supposed to get to their destination where people can as well sort them out, reuse them, which is the waste bin. We didn't allow them to get to the waste bin. So we have given them untimely death. They get to a particular place and they disturb them over there. So from Yoruba perspective, I engage with this word. In Yoruba believe that untimely death, people wake up back, come to life, and get back to relocate to another space. So I engage with all these items that have been relocated. I took them to the city and I make people to see what they have done to them. So for me, I engage in both physical experience with people and their psychological aspect. I want them to see that what they are calling trash is not trash. It is their mind that is saying it's trash. So
amazing, 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 amazing. I would love to hold you there by your word. Yes, because of time, we have another session by 6. I know the fire is there, the fire, the energy. Ah, man, the speaker this evening brought in bazooka. They brought in bazooka and fireworks. Oh, God. Amazing. I love it. I love it. Don't worry for now. Because of our time, we need to move very quickly, and we need to really prepare for the next session as well. It's just incredible. It's just I love, and you know, change is all about passion, and we can feel that here. You know, talking about climate change and climate action is about activism. So it's about how involved are we in what we're talking about. What is the role of the artist? So sometimes we feel like the artist is just a painter. The only thing the artist knows is just to paint. It's not true. An artist has a place in every part of the society. And we can see that evidently in this space today. So very quickly, we will just round up very quickly. I will spotlight the four of you, and you will just give us your final words. Somebody actually asked a question, actually. So I will try to raise that question again. Very quickly, I will spotlight four of you. They will just, your final word just in 30 seconds. We can keep talking from now till 6 o'clock, but we need to just slow down so that we can get ready for the next session as well. But this recording, the recording for this session will be made available so that we can populate, we can share, and we can just, so that more people are aware of what role they are playing in the environment and as agent of change as well, right? It's not the job of artists alone, it's the job of everyone, because to save the environment is a job of everyone. To save Mother Nature is a job of everyone, and we all need to be involved. So I'm going to spotlight the four of you very quickly, and then you can just give us your final word. But before we do that, I would, Marcelina, if you don't mind, I want to spotlight you, please. Marcelina, if you don't mind, I don't know if she's here, but I can see her, she's here. So I'm going to spotlight you. I'm going to also take picture of four of you. I don't know if Auntie Foluke, if she can put on her camera as well, so I can just take the picture of four of you in the frame, right? So very quickly, yeah. So I'm going to ask you for your final words. What do you have to say? But I think let me look at the question again. Somebody actually asked a question, so I want to look at that. Let me see. I'm going to be very quick. Okay, so I see Rodney from Uganda ask a question about artists, throwing more light about how artists, especially those doing repurposing and recycling, can preserve and protect the African culture through environmental art, especially with the work that you all do. So, I mean, you hear that about creating content that promote African culture. I'm sure that's what they're saying. That it's not just creating body of work, but then that is just westernized, but more that speaks about the African culture. I mean, yeah, I know Marcelina does that already with what she's creating. It's more of her history. It's more of her story as a woman from Edo State in Nigeria. She's talking about, you know, the people of Edo State, even talking about her daughter, right? So there's no how she will do what she's doing without really mentioning that aspect of her culture. I think she's already doing that. And so it's more of just advocating. Then I also want to believe that Mr. DOTUN is already also doing that in the kind of work she produced. I mean, she spoke about the god of, is it Shango? There was a particular piece he made.
Shango?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a particular piece he made that speaks about, you know, the god of thunder, right? Or god of fire.
God of thunder, lightning and thunder.
Lightning and thunder. So the artists are already doing that. And we can also see what Mr. Durodola also is doing. I don't know what title to give to some of the work he has created. Some are more of day-to-day activities, but others also speak about, you know, our culture as Africans as well. So very quickly, three of you, what's your final word? Because we have to just close now. I'm going to start with an amazing, wonderful speaker, Marcelina Akpojotor. What's your last word, please? I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Okay. Hi, it's been an amazing session. And I'm happy to be in conversation with you, with Mr. Dotun, with Mr. Yusuf and Ms. Foluke. What I would say is basically what we'll be talking about here. At the end of the day, it's a work meant for everybody. As artists, we can only do what we can do. And again, we also need to take it outside of the practice. We also need to imbibe it in our daily life. We are humans and we generate a lot of waste. What then happens? At the end of the day, we cannot utilize all these wastes. So we need to properly dispose of them and make sure our environments are clean. I mean, painters, if you're not the kind of person that likes to work with your hand, you can as well paint about the environment you want to see happen. You can sculpt about it. And what I also like what Mr. Yusuf Durodola is doing with the performance. I mean, it's a pleasant thing to do. He's asking, do you love me? Can you hug me? Seeing him like that, you don't want to approach him. And that's exactly how we also treat the environment.
Marcelina, sorry to cut you short. Go ahead. Sorry, I was just reacting to what you just said.
Okay. Okay, so I said, it's a job for all of us. It's here that will stay, we live, the generation before us and the generation after us, and we need to make it habitable for each and every one of us. So we need to be mindful of what we do on our day-to-day life and how we can minimize the wastes we generate.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Marcelina, for that powerful one. Thank you so much. Mr. Dotun, your final word very quickly, please.
Well, thank you so much for this privilege. My final word is, let me just play with words. Bounty will be plenty in our planet if we don't play our parts to eradicate them. We just need to play our parts so that we can save this planet from we can't create rubbish if we can't create rubbish if we don't take care of our rubbish. Thank you.
Can't create rubies if we don't take care of our rubbish.
Yes.
We can't create rubies if we don't take care of our rubbish. That's a very powerful line. Thanks so much, sir. Mr. Yusuf, very quickly, sir.
God bless you. Now, my final one. Our space, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Our environment is our invisible body. So if we don't take good care of our invisible body, then our physical body is nowhere, to be near to, in a proper structure, and our soul is in danger with that. So it is the work, responsibility of everybody to be part of this. Artists, no amount of the rubbish in the community or in the society that we can as well engage with. There are just too many. So we need everybody from different creative, aspect, perspective, structure to come in and be part of this journey. Thank you so much for the art in medicine. That is another perspective to it. God bless everyone. God bless people
Just want to thank all of you today, our amazing speakers for today. You have opened our eyes to see the relevance of, I'm sorry, Auntie Foluke is here now, so let her give a final word as well. I'm sorry. I didn't see you. I was looking out for you before. Okay, please just speak. Yes, just go ahead.
I was leaving
Your final word, please.
My other.
All right.
Okay. Please, we need to
Final
understand that in the beginning, the word was without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the earth. We should relate back now that this is our own beginning, where the environmental has become so unsustainable. But someone said, let there be. But before he said, he created everything that was very beautiful in his mind eye, and he put them on the canvas. Even when human being was formed, it was formed in form of a drawing on a canvas. He had to breathe on it to make us as being functional. So he has recreated several millions of artists around the world with power of imagination to solve global issues. So I'm imploring you, me, and all of us around the world to go use that power inside of us to recreate the environment, to plant the trees, to remove the plastic, to remove the waste, to rethink agriculture, to go into hydroponics and ensure that we have the world the way it was in the beginning by the great artist, God. This is our chance to prove that we are the creators, we are the creators' handwork that has the power to create the environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Auntie Foluke. So very quickly, Mr. Dotun, please put on your camera, Marcelina, put on your camera so I can take 4 of you in the frame, please, very quickly. Thank you. Very quickly, then we can now take picture with, thank you. Mr. Dotun, please put on your camera very quickly. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you, sir. We're waiting for Mr. Dotun to put on his camera. Yes, amazing, amazing. We're waiting for Mr. Dotun.